Lynn, would you do the roll call, please?
Sure. Michael Bell,
Present.
Henry Janish,
Here.
Peggy Cruz,
Present.
You didn't just start.
Tammy Newberry,
I'm here.
Okay, so when you go to the, are you on?
Chuck Phillipson,
Here.
Roger Trutman,
Here.
Lori Wertz. Believe she's absent.
Okay, so we have a quorum. I
We do
look
have
for an
a quorum.
approval of the, what?
Sorry, we have a quorum, yes.
Okay. I look for an approval of the agenda.
This is Henry. I'll move to approve the agenda.
Peggy, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any further discussion or additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, public appearances and citizens' comments. No items. Something got moved up here. Okay, no debate will occur at the board on items introduced by citizens. Items will not be acted upon at this meeting, but will be referred to the proper staff or committee if action is required. And please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak?
Mr. President, this is Bert from the police department.
Yes, sir.
Randy Drager is trying to log in right now. He just called me and said he's trying to log in. He's having technical difficulties. So apparently he wanted to speak about tourism in the village. So I don't know if you guys can do something, or you give him time to log in, or you can come back to that.
We can come back. There right now there's a 608-235-1556 that's logged on. Is anyone there?
Brian Jaglone's here.
Oh, okay.
I guess we could try.
I'll let you know when you can circle back.
Yeah, we'll just, when Randy comes in, we'll circle back to that then.
Okay.
If you know he wants to speak.
Okay, sounds good. I'll pass it. Like I said, he called me on the phone. He thought it was you guys still were doing them live. And so he's trying to log in right now, and somebody's giving him a hand. So I'm going to just mute off here, and I'll let you guys go. And when he gets in, he can join.
Okay, thanks, Bert. Okay, moving on. I look for approval of the consent agenda.
This is Henry. I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'm Michael Bell, will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item 5, extraterritorial zoning. Item A, discussion consideration regarding 2 adjacent certified survey maps to divide 4 residential lots and 1 public outlot from the Arn Farm on the north side of Durst Road. Drake, do you want to comment on this, please?
Sure. The memo from Village Planner Mark Roffers is included in your packet. Details this item. The Extraterritorial Zoning Board did meet and they unanimously recommended approval contingent upon items 1 through 7 listed on page 1 and 2 of Mark Roffers' memo dated 11/18/2021. So the recommendation would be to a motion to approve with those contingencies as listed.
Can we have discussion on that, Drake?
Yep, go ahead, Peggy.
Okay, I have a couple of things. I guess obviously I have a vested interest because I live on Durst Road, as well as you do, Brian. I just have a couple of things. The email that, and I see Bob is on here, Bob Pilarczyk, I believe. The DNR emails don't seem to be conclusive. There's comments in there about the subject reach is questionable. It's kind of tough with all the corn. Is there a way that we can get the DNR to give us a more comprehensive response rather than whether or not it's questionable or he can't see it from the corn, if this particular right-of-way, water passageway is sufficient enough. It doesn't sound like the DNR has much input. Maybe they're not supposed to have much input. I'm not sure. But my concern is that we really don't have, because this is adjacent to the village, and we are setting a precedent, and this is a particularly serious waterway. Is there a possibility that we could have our own, and I know we don't have much jurisdiction over this, that we could have our own, Mr. Strand go out and take a look and see if this waterway is sufficient and see just what the DNR's input is on the sufficiency of the waterway? My concern is that as this becomes developed, that we not establish enough. So it just seems a little like there isn't enough, what can I say, expertise on it, that everybody, not discrediting you, Bob, I know you're the expert in the land, but it just seems like it's kind of willy-nilly without people actually voicing a professional opinion.
Well, yeah, this is Bob Tolarczyk speaking. This went through the township approval, the planning commission approval process, and their town engineer looked at it, and we both agreed that we needed to reach out to the DNR to get a determination if that was a navigable stream there. Because if it was a navigable stream, it would have changed how we approached developing that area. And so I had reached out to that person at the DNR and gave him all the information I had on where it was. I sent him our preliminary layout and asked what their determination was on that area. And that's when he got back to me and said he asked for some pictures, if I had any pictures in addition to the things that I sent him. So I went out there and took the pictures I could from the road, and I drove down to the bottom of using that little field road there. I drove in and took some pictures of the actual waterway, but I couldn't get like really great pictures some areas because of the corn. And that was my comment back to him. I sent him back all the pictures I had taken, and I said it was a little bit tough with all of the corn. So anyway, they made their determination that it was not a navigable stream, and let us know that. So the town engineer knows that, Mr. Roffers knows that, and then there's been further discussions about driveways crossing that area, and so it's been determined that so that will be township land once that's dedicated, that 250 feet between the Durst Road and the lots. And the reason we did that was because of the villages wants to keep their options open as far as annexing up in that direction, and so this outlot would facilitate that in the future. And then it could be also, this outlot could be, it's being dedicated for access to the lots for future potential storm and water utilities, and also for potential stormwater management within the outlot. So it's looking towards managing the water that comes down through there. And then lastly, the driveways that are going to cross that area are going to be, this has been working with Tim Schleeper, the town engineer, and Mr. Roppers, that they'll be required to have an engineer's plan for their driveway, and they will have to, that plan will have to show how they handle the 100-year event in a storm. So that, you know, there's either enough culverts or it's engineered that once the culverts fill up, there may be a little backup, but then there'll be a little overflow potentially. I mean, I'm not an engineer, so I can't really speak super intelligently about this, but so I guess, you know, it seems like all of that was considered.
Have we had, Drake, have we had Strand take a look at this at all? I know he doesn't have any, he cannot make any particular suggestions that they would have to follow, but has he looked it over? Has he had any input to guide us along as we make this decision? Because I think this is going to set a significant precedent if we move forward without some comprehensive input.
We did not involve the village's engineer since we had the town engineer we were working in conjunction with.
Okay.
I would suggest that with the restrictions placed on the remainder of the land, the vast majority of the remainder of the Arn farm will remain undeveloped unless the village were to annex it for a development. And so a vast majority of the land will remain undeveloped.
Okay. Bob, then do you feel that we would have to have more explicit description by the DNR, or what we have here in these emails is sufficient?
Well, I think so. I mean, the purpose of reaching out to them was just a yes or no question. Is it a navigable stream or is it not? Is it considered technically a navigable stream? Even though there's no water running through it a lot of the time, sometimes that type of stuff can be still determined as navigable. And so they I don't even know what they did. They looked at it. They looked at all the data I sent them. I don't even know if they came out and looked at it or not. But they made that determination based on their criteria that it was not navigable.
And Drake, you feel that's sufficient enough then? We don't need to have them out again or to have them at a meeting?
Based on the recommendation of Mark Roffers, who has, quite a bit of experience with this and was involved in the writing of the extraterritorial zoning code, I'm comfortable with his recommendation.
Okay, I have one more or just more explanation for myself. I'm sorry to be controlling this, but I just have one more question. It's on page 13 of your packet. I guess it's 13 of the response from Roffers. And it's the first bullet point on the top of the page. I just need to know what that means. Is everyone there, or Drake, are you there?
Is that the work out some sort of financial agreement with the town to buy out?
Yeah, that's it. What does that mean? Work out some financial agreement with the town to buy out of the statutory requirement in 4, Roman numeral 4. What does that mean?
One moment, I'm just reading. Referencing another agreement in the packet.
It just says right below there, otherwise the town can be presented with a 7.9 acre area of barren land or corn store with no funds to plant prairie or other appropriate vegetation.
Right, so the land that it's referencing, there's a requirement that the area be managed by the property owner. And so that essentially, that's Mark Roffers is essentially saying that the town is going to be owning, even though it'll be public land, but it's supposed to be maintained by the property owners. They're saying that if the developer or the future owners didn't want to do that, they were suggesting that the town and the developer would need to come to some sort of financial agreement outside of this approval process, in order to ensure that the town had either received adequate compensation to take over and manage that piece of property, or that in the event that the property owners wanted to divest themselves of that responsibility.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, that was for the benefit of kind of memorializing the discussions that have taken place to this point. But that would be a separate agreement that would involve the township and the landowners, and would fall outside of this approval.
Oh, okay. Okay, those are the questions I have. I'm finished. Thank you.
So the last thing I'll call attention to is item 1 of his recommendations. So this approval does include a modification that we thought was fair after numerous discussions with the property, with the seller and the town, and one that's allowable under our ordinance. But the ordinance does require that each lot fronts against the public street. That's why the dedicated public outlot is dedicated, so that each property is public facing to public property to ensure guaranteed access. So that is the modification, which is allowable under the ordinance, and was the compromise that we had come to with the seller and the town and all involved, that we thought was a fair solution.
I have no further questions.
Does anyone else have any comments on this item? Would someone like to make a motion on the item?
Well, I, Michael Bell, will make a motion to approve it.
With the contingencies listed.
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Tammy, I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, new board business. Discussion consideration resolution 21-28, resolution appointing election officials for the 2022 to 2023 term.
Gwen, would you like to take us through this one?
Sure. This is the first year that I can recall we actually received nominations from the Republican and Democratic parties of Greene County to have people specifically placed on as election officials. There's a criteria that we need to follow on how many of each party we would use in the elections. And that's the reason the resolution looks a little different this time, and it lists first choice and their affiliation, and then our alternates. So what we'll be doing is, for every election that we only need 7 people, we'll be looking to those first choice people for each of those elections, and those will be the people that will be working. If we have to substitute someone, we'll go down. We'll worry about keeping the parties that count on for every specific election. But this is the list of people that we will be selecting workers from. Any questions?
In the past, have people had to declare their party in order to be an official?
No, they have not. And we have always used unaffiliated election officials. But this year we received letters from the parties requesting specific people be appointed. And by law, we are required to then use those people.
So what
And
if
we
we
can't-
have, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, we can't say everyone needs, I don't know, that bothers me, and I don't know. I just think unaffiliated, why do you have to declare your party? But,
I
so
agree.
not everybody has to declare a party?
It's more that the two major political parties are entitled to request election workers from their political party be appointed as election workers. Not that you are forced to declare a party in order to serve as an election official, but if the political parties request that their members be appointed, then under the law, we have to appoint their requested applicants or volunteers, or I'm sorry, volunteers is the incorrect term, poll workers, and based on who won in the last governor or presidential election from which party, that determines who gets the majority of picks. So the Democratic Party is entitled to 4. They put forward 2, I believe, and the Republican Party is entitled to 3, and they put forward 3 names. So in the past, the political parties have not requested this of the village, even though they are entitled to do so, which is why people were allowed to serve as unaffiliated. But since the request has been made, the parties are requesting that these people who have declared their political affiliation be allowed to serve as the law allows.
So no one, this just doesn't seem right. No one advocates for the unaffiliated then? They just advocate for the political parties?
There's no.
Correct. The unaffiliated are not entitled to, unlike the political parties, the unaffiliated are not entitled to a spot as a poll worker.
Yeah, but if I may interject here, there's no advocacy for anyone. These are just appointed positions. You can't advocate as an election official. And if I may just go farther to clear up some of the mystery here, this was instigated by the Republican Party as part of their ongoing process of discrediting our electoral process. So once it was begun and they requested the party affiliation, then it became mandatory for everyone to declare an affiliation. No one has to. Some people did, as you can see from the list, but it is and has been for many, many years part of our statutes stating who can serve as electoral officials.
So let me just be devil's advocate here.
There's no argument. There's no question. There's no argument about it. It is what it is.
So you could declare yourself a Republican, but actually vote Democratic and still be on the list as a Republican. It just seems a little nebulous to me the way this works, but you're right, Chuck, if that's the way it is.
But it is what it is. It's the law.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the officials on the list has run as a Republican for many, many years in the past, but is now declared unaffiliated, and that's that person's right. Perhaps they change their mind But that's just the way the laws are written. And I know that Lynn and Drake can't, would not feel comfortable getting into the intricacies of this,
Right.
but it is politics, and I'm not afraid to state my point. So the list as it is drawn, unless Lynn corrects me, is just the way it has to be. It does put having started this process, the people that started this process, they put a terrific burden on the local clerks, election officials, but obviously they don't care.
Yeah, just so you know, I mean, these people, all of our, most of the unaffiliated ones have been past election officials for us. They're all required to take training. So we will be doing some additional training January if we have a February election, or March for the April election, in order to get these people trained as well. But we received any party affiliation on this resolution was a name received specifically from the parties. So that's why they're there.
Very interesting.
It's been
I
a
would
learning
move.
experience.
I would move the approval of the electoral official list as presented by our election clerk.
It was Henry, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, discussion consideration operator's license to expire 6/30/23. These are all, did they go through Public Works, Public Safety?
No,
They did not, because originally we had thought we would only be having one meeting in December until some items popped up, but they needed approval prior to the end of the year.
Okay.
it doesn't say anything on here, Drake, about staff approval, but I'm assuming that Bert and Jeff have gone through everything and it looks good. They look good.
Yes, they've been through our review process.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention. We have a motion on the table. I'll put one to approve these. Operator licenses.
This is Henry, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, discussion consideration write-off delinquent personal property taxes. Drake or Lynn?
As the notes state, the village has a total of $409.52 in delinquent personal property tax owned by A1 Service for the years of 2012, 13, 14, 15, and 17. The owner of the business has passed away, and the collection agency involved with that estate that we employ has informed us that there are no other options for collection of this delinquent tax. And so staff is recommending to write off the amount.
Just for the record, who is the owner?
Lynn, are you aware of the owner's name?
It's Jim Wertz.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is Henry, I'll move to approve writing off the vacant personal property taxes.
I'll second Peggy.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under the president's report, discussion, consideration to reschedule the December 21st, 2021 village board meeting to December 15th, 2021. I think there's only going to be one item on that agenda, correct?
We'll have a couple other ones.
Oh, a couple other ones? Okay.
Just to get them through since we're having a meeting anyway.
Okay. So we would like to just move that meeting up a week, and then we don't get that close to the Christmas holidays either.
This is Tammy. I'll make a motion to move the meeting to December 15th.
I'll second that, Chuck.
Okay, Chuck. Any further discussion on that item? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay. Anything more from the board? Oh, has Randy come on yet?
Yeah, Mr. President, I was just going to give you an update. He was unable to make the connection, and he said he'll recontact and reschedule with the village for what he wanted to bring up. And he was
Okay, thanks.
apologetic he couldn't make it.
Okay, thank you, Bert.
You bet. Thank you, sir.
Okay. There's nothing else. We are adjourned.
Good night, everyone.
Right.
Right.